Peace and blessings, everybody. This is BDF, aka BDF 44, coming at you with another video. Heart is super heavy this morning. It is April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day is always a bad day for me because my mother passed away on March the 30th. Of 2016 of cancer. So I have my own personal struggles with this time, but to be completely honest with you, my heart is heavy on top of my own personal stuff, man. Obviously, Los Angeles lost a legend yesterday, Nipsey Hussle, someone who was doing tremendous things for not only his community, but for human beings as a whole. He wanted to see us in a position to not only think for ourselves, but be healthy. And he was going to do a documentary on Dr. Sebi, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, I believe it's Sebi, in regards to the case that he won in New York City. I'm not sure what year that was, but they were essentially saying that he was practicing medicine illegally, and he was claiming that he had 13 cases of AIDS that he had cured and had the formula for how to cure everyone else. And this was a case that obviously hadn't gotten enough attention. Many people didn't know about, and I'm looking forward to seeing who will complete this documentary, because I think it is ultimately what Nipsey stood for. I don't want to say what got him killed, because I really don't know, but it was something that he stood for. It was something that he was ready to die for, and unfortunately we lost him. Now we can get into conspiracy theories. Do I believe that Dr. Sebi's the documentary had something to do with his killing? It's either it did or it didn't. You know, when it comes to stuff like that, if you want to come to an opinion about stuff like that, it's either it did or it didn't. Basically, is what I'm coming down to with this. You know, if you want to lean toward the conspiracy theories, there's so much to support that. If you were to lean toward what the streets are basically saying, or what I'm hearing, which is that somebody got out, old op got out with a vendetta, an old vendetta. You know, he was mad about stuff that happened long before Nipsey rose to this position, and obviously you know how it is when people get out, they hold their gripes. It can go one or two ways. Either they go and do things that are positive, or they go and try to go back in the old ways. And allegedly, the individual who killed Nipsey hopped out and went straight back to his old ways. But I think it was more to it than that. I think most people would probably lean toward it being more to it than that. But honestly, we just don't have any evidence at all. We don't know nothing yet. All we know is that this good brother was lost. His family is without him, and the air is thick in Los Angeles, man. We know what to expect. We've seen how this city reacts to tragedy. We've seen how the streets of Los Angeles react to tragedy. So we know that it's not going to be safe out here for a little while. I'm hearing 60 days, 60 nights is what I'm hearing. So I don't, you know, I don't condone violence in any way. So I'm just asking that we all do our very best to try to wait for more information to come out before we start going crazy out here, even though I know that's just not realistic. I don't have anything positive to say, man, other than that this was a great person that we didn't deserve to lose, that didn't deserve to have his family be mourning him right now, that didn't deserve to have his legacy be remembered as someone who died in these streets. This is somebody who was doing so much for his community, who was doing positive things, putting out positive energy, and trying to uplift people while his career was ascending. And just on the music tip, this man made tremendous music his whole career. And his last effort, I think, was obviously his most heralded, but for me was also his best. Victory Lap was a tremendous CD, probably one of the best CDs, and I say CDs even though nobody listens to those anymore, but one of the best albums of that year, if not the best album of the year. So thank you for the music. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you, Nipsey, for just giving us a shining example of what a person can do, rising from where you came from and becoming what you became. And this is not, I want to say this is not a story of, or an example of, why rappers should leave home. I don't accept that. This is not that. I do believe that some rappers should leave home. I do believe that once you make a certain amount of money, that you need to be aware that security is overly necessary, and how you move is ultimately what will determine how safe you and your family will become. But this ain't that. This was somebody who was deeply rooted here, who made it his life's mission to put forth all of his efforts into the community. He lived for this community. The last thing LA needed was to lose Nipsey. We needed him. We needed him. We needed somebody like him, for example. We needed somebody like him just for the efforts that he was doing in specifics. You know, and I do think that a lot of rappers should consider the fact that you lose your life at home a lot of times, if you make a lot of money, all that. But when you're doing the things that Nipsey did, you're an honorable person, you're appreciated in your hood, and I don't think there's any reason for a person like that to think that they don't have a place at home. Nipsey had a place at home. His life was lost because of things that we don't know, but ultimately I just wish that we did a better job of, as a community, protecting him, you know. But what can you do, man? When it's time for someone to go, when someone wants you touched, you touched. You know, that's that. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. Prayers to his family, prayers to his loved ones, prayers to his brothers, his homies. You know, people who loved him. A man like that, even though he was a part of a set, this man was a part of something much bigger. You know, you could find people from the opposite side who would have been very, very happy to stand by his side, because it's the kind of man he was. That's why nobody wants to believe this is gang related. I don't want to believe this is gang related. I don't. But the reality is, that's what the word is. That's what's being told. And people say they know who he is. He's a well-known person. This is not, from what I understand, it's a lot going on, street stuff. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not a street guy. But from what I'm understanding, this is not something that you can directly link to conspiracy theories. People are saying otherwise, so I don't know. But one thing's for certain, Nipsey was doing something that has a lot of people have lost their life mentioning, working toward, and bringing awareness to the life and efforts of Dr. Sebi. Many people have lost their lives in the efforts against big pharmaceutical companies, big pharma as they call it. Many have. So to ignore that, I think, is a bit irresponsible when considering what Nipsey was doing, and even what he said about what he was doing, and how he felt that Dr. Sebi was murdered. So even though a lot of people want to dismiss the conspiracy theories, I don't think it's responsible for us to do so. I just simply think at this point in time, until we know what's going on, we can't rule nothing out. But as an LA native, I just want to say that regardless of what or why, this is painful. The air is thick out here. We ain't been this sad since Pac died, quite honestly. This is awful. And that's that, man. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Prayers. BDI.